up, my beautiful gemstones? Welcome to Thursday Night Chillax and Chats. And I'm coming to you live from my bedroom again because it's just more comfy in here and I'm more able to chillax. That's what it is. Thank you guys for coming out with us. We've got Steven and Miss Paranormal Pixie in the back there. Lotus Girl, by gosh, I almost forgot about tonight. I almost forgot to put the stream up. I knew it was coming. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I should probably do that. Definitely help to get your mind off things. That's what we're kind of hoping for with everybody, just to, we don't really have any direction per se in this stream. We just want to see what you guys are up to, and if we can get some of you guys to come on and tell some paranormal or supernatural experiences, even better. Miss Smoochie in the house, Eris, Andrew and Gnomes, TD Dean, Taiwan, so nice to see you. Welcome back. TD, you as well. Without further delay, let's just bring them in.
Hey everybody, what's up?
Hi everybody.
What's up? I'm saying my highs.
Slow motion, Aunt Edna. Remember, guys, Miss Lara cannot really see the chat, so if you have any questions at all, definitely put them in caps for us. But if you especially have them for Lara, because she can't see what you guys are writing, so I'll throw it up on the screen. Like I said, for tonight, we don't have like a guest or like an aim, but we figured we'd leave it up to you guys and we just go with the flow, make it nice and relaxed and low key. I need to thank everybody for my amazing birthday yesterday, making it even that much better. It was so cool. I just rewatched the stream from last night and it was just amazing. And I just love you guys and appreciate you all so much. I didn't see Crowley come in. Did Crowley come in?
I didn't see him come in.
I saw holy crap at Crowley, but there's no Crowley.
I
don't know what's going on. Is this real life?
Yes, I guess so.
I met a friend for lunch today. My friend Donna, she comes into the stream every once in a while. We went and had pizza with a friend of hers, and her friend wanted a reading. But my mom was kind of relaxing today, and I didn't really want to bring anyone back to the house, especially someone I don't know. So I ended up reading for her in the middle of the pizza joint, which was actually pretty cool. There were a lot of people. I handed out a lot of business cards, so that was cool. It was free advertisement. Vixen Dell, what's up? Oh, she met Andrew. Thanks, Taiwaz. And then my dad just called me and asked me how it feels to be 38 today.
Aw.
I'm like, Daddy, I'm 40 and my birthday was yesterday. You got to give him a break. The drugs, But I thought I was going to be abducted today. I was approached by this couple and the gentleman was giant and the woman was pretty, big herself. And I don't mean like overweight. I just mean like they were big people. And normally, like if I have some cash, I keep it in my pocket because that happens around here and I'll give them a couple bucks, but they asked for a cigarette and I don't smoke. So then they asked for a few bucks and I said, I don't have any cash on me. I'm really sorry. And then it was, well, can you walk to the store with us and purchase the cigarettes for us? And I didn't want to be involved in that mess. And I figured out, I was talking to Tracy and I think it's because I inadvertently and accidentally look like fancy and I'm walking around a ghetto. Like I've got the fur jacket with all the fur and the big hood and the big sunglasses and the big purse and the nice boots. And I'm like, yeah, I feel bad when that happens. About 3 weeks ago, some guy approached me and I had only a $20 bill and I just gave it to him because that's really why I keep cash. But I was legitimately scared though. I'm like, I can't go to the store with you. And then luckily like a cop came around the corner and they're like, okay, bye. And they left. And I'm like, oh, thank you, sweet little baby Jesus.
What would have happened if they would have said, hey, we got a van of oracle cards
full of oracle decks for crystals?
No, I'm coming right along.
I'll be right there. Hold my purse. Who said that they were poorly? Slow motion. That's okay, honey. You are, of course, forgiven. Similar experiences. Yeah, my mom always says, be careful around here because it's a really old shore town and there's just a lot of poverty in some of the areas. Like where my mom lives, it's much nicer. It's like a downtown shopping area. But with that, you get, the disadvantaged and the marginalized. And I want to help every single one of them, but I can't. But this one was scary because they're like, come on, go to the store with us. You can just buy us cigarettes. And I felt like even if I did that, the minute I pulled out my wallet, I was done for. So I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that.
That
we
seems
deal with a very
sketchy.
similar. Yeah, deal with very similar, in our area. Los Alamos, it totally different feel of the town, but if I go shopping, I end up going off of the hill. And so, down in Espanola Valley, even down some parts of Santa Fe, Albuquerque especially, there are
Really?
some areas that you just do not want to go to. And when I was a young teen living in Albuquerque, the neighborhood that I grew up in was literally known as the war zone.
Oh my gosh.
It was a 2 or 3 city block area that being a little white girl was not a good thing for me. I had a friend in high school, my freshman year, who had 2 gang members follow her home from the bus stop, took her in her house, beat her, and poured bleach in her eyes. Yes. You have to be aware of your surroundings at all times.
My mom always says that. She'll be like, you're going out for a walk? And I'm like, yes, it's only 7:00. And she's like, yeah, but it's dark out. Like you can't. And I get mad with her. She's like, you don't know the area. Where I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. I don't know if you guys ever Googled it, but it's not a safe place. It's just overrun with drugs and poverty and it was the same thing with me, kind of like I was the minority and I always had friends. And because my dad's been out on the streets for so long, like since I'm 10 years old, so 30 years now, everyone's like, oh yeah, that's Kelly's daughter. That's Kelly's daughter. I don't have that protection here. And I forget that. So I walk around like I own the town. And then things like that happen that kind of shock me back into reality. Like I said, if I have it on me and they need it, I'll give it to them. But I was actually in a situation today where I was scared, and that almost never, I can't even say that ever does happen to me, because normally I can just see them coming from a mile away, but I'm not ever aware of my surroundings. One time I walked with my father 10 blocks from our house in Paterson to the hospital. 10 whole blocks. When we finally got to the hospital, my dad said, do you realize that there has been a gold car that followed us this entire 10 blocks honking its horn at us? He goes, they're not honking for me. I was like, I didn't even hear. I didn't even notice it. Wasn't even aware that
it just went right by you.
It turned out to be this creepy stalker dude that was following me around for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Folks are becoming desperate. Yeah, it's really a shame, And like I said, from where I've come from, 5 years ago, I was homeless and eating out of garbage cans, and I weighed 86 pounds and was losing all my hair. I get it, believe me. But man, I came home. This just happened right across the street from my mom's house too. Literally, there's a church across the street. It was on the other side of the church. It was so close. I didn't even want to tell her because then she'd be afraid to go out and smoke cigarettes.
Yeah. But yeah, you really do. You have to. And you can't live in fear of that, but you have to be aware,
mindful,
and pay attention. I make it a point, when I get ready to walk out, say out of a grocery store to go to my car, I pivot and I look. Not only am I paying attention to who was in the store behind me as I'm coming out, but who's in the parking lot and what do I see?
Yep.
As I go to my car, and I check it multiple times, and again, like I say, not out of fear. You don't want to live that way. You'll make yourself sick, but you've got to pay attention.
My mom lives that way. Okay, guys, I got something really cool. So I want to show you. I was, there was that little demon black-eyed kid that was making me sick, and I had to wait for my mom to leave, and finally got rid of him. And then I got this other little spirit. There's something here. It just came to me yesterday, last night. Another boy, of course. And I didn't get the full information yet, but there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of crying. I think the body may not have been found yet. So wherever this kid resides now, they're fearful of that place. So because I see shadow people jumping from the neighbor's roof to my mother's roof, and recently I think it's a jinn, so I call it the jinn. in my home has become very bold and very brazen. Like I walk out of my bedroom, the bathroom's 2 steps outside my door, and this thing is about 10 or 12 feet tall, just standing there, and it like chases me down the steps, and it didn't used to show itself to me. So anyway, so that little boy wasn't fearful when he was here. I got him a little focus item. I told him it is not a vessel. You are not allowed to like overtake it. Don't know if they can even do that, but just in case, so it doesn't get creepy. But I got him this. His name is James, and I'm going to figure out what's going on with him. And I got it from Kohl's off the charity bin, so like half of the purchase goes to charity. Nice. So I got James a head wig as a focus item so that he doesn't have to be scared until I figure out what's going on with him.
Yeah. That's new to me. Therapy dolls for ghosts. Yeah. You got something to sell.
When they're tiny, Larry, when they're small like that, you know what else to do.
That's an awesome idea. That's an awesome idea.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not Casper. It happens every time I go to put something up. Ralph said, has anyone got to talk to Marie? I hope she's doing better and feels good. She hasn't been in the stream for a while, but she has been on Facebook. And from what I understand, she's doing just fine. It's just so late for her to stay up now to be in like Wednesday night stream. And then Jarvis had all of those crazy issues, and he wasn't feeling good for a while. He said he basically only talks to her. But she's doing well from what I can see. And you got to figure
well. Right now, it's got to be like 7 a.m., or not 7 a.m., 1 a.m. her time.
At least 1 a.m. Yeah, at least.
I can't remember if she's 7 hours or 8 hours ahead of us.
Because I know, I always think Ireland, but Ireland's 5. Where Marie is over there.
Well, see,
what we haven't
5
seen?
For you, 7 for me.
Okay.
Buzz, what time is it over there?
Amy wasn't in our chat last night either. Ever since she was about to go get that apartment. And I'm wondering what happened with that for her, because we were all really rooting for her. Smoochie just said it. I can't make this stuff up. I was thinking about it last night, but other things kept popping in. And you guys know how I have to have like 17 mini conversations on the side of what's actually happening. Anybody hear from Amy in our house hunting? No, but I hope that she comes in.
Yeah. Well, and as well as I do, just putting that out there, that we're hoping to hear from her, we're going to hear from her.
Yes, that's been happening a lot lately, because I think that just the collective thought of like all of us being like, hey, where's this person? It happens in the chat. I'll be like, where's this person? Or I haven't heard from this person in a while. And all of a sudden they're there. Last night I was saying something that my mentor taught me or said to me about being a people pleaser and being divine feminine. And he was in the chat and I didn't even know it. And he's like, oh, hey. And he popped up right after I said it. And I was like, oh
I know.
That makes sense. It's
it was great.
So I don't really know what to talk about with you guys this week. We kind of just wanted to hang out. Usually we have a plan, but it's been crazy. So Miss Lara, do you have any ideas?
I saw something pretty creepy today.
Let's hear it.
Kind of actually freaked my dad out. I don't think he saw it, but I think he knew how I was reacting. We had just come back from the house picking up the mail. And these 2 guys were standing out in front of the doors down here having a cigarette. And I get out of the car, and one guy goes, hello. And as soon as he said hello, this thing, I don't know what it was, literally steps out from behind him, had really weird, lanky legs, and its arms, knuckles, literally, it looked like it was dragging its hands.
Oh.
And I mean, that's how long the arms were. It's like,
was it like a shadow?
It was.
Or was it like a person? Or was
it was more
pale?
solid. It was shadowed looking. I mean, it was dark.
I mean, like color wise, was it like a
black?
Pale
it was
color?
black. It was black, and it was just, and it looked like it was dragging its knuckle. You can tell it was like a human form. It just kind of stood there and looked. I could feel it looking at me, like it could see me, because a lot of times those things don't see me. And this thing saw me, and it was just weird. I'm freaking out. And this guy was going, you okay? And I go, no. And Dad goes, no, I don't think he is. What's wrong? And I go, no.
Yeah, you can't really tell people that.
And then I just went inside. The dog even was like, Puff was like, he was froze. He was
you can't. That's the whole problem. Like I used to just blurt it out.
Yeah, you can.
And I understand now
But
why you can't just do that.
yeah.
I thought I was helping, but some people aren't ready to hear
Right.
that. You know,
No,
some
that's
people
why
are
I
No.
not
blurted
ready
out.
to.
I'd say I've gone up and told people, you get all kinds of reactions. But what always amazed
Hmm.
this one, I had this one person look at me and go, I had a feeling
Yeah,
something
that's
was
happened to me
wrong.
too.
And he goes, I've had a
Yeah.
feeling something was, giving me a hard time. He goes, I just go, are you religious? And he goes, yeah. I go, just go to church, kind of find God again, and just
Hmm.
ignore it. Just ignore it. I never heard back from him. He gave me his business card. I never reached back out to him.
I don't know. I feel like for me, like if I tell people things like that, then I'm inviting them to, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I know like I've mentioned it before, and then I get the person messaging me 465 times a day asking me what they should do. Was that
Right.
noise that they heard the thing? And I mean
Right.
literally like 400 text messages.
I've
And
never
it's like,
done that.
I'll help you.
He handed me his business card, and I'm like, okay. And I go, just be careful.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was gonna
You
reach
know,
out to him, but I never did.
yeah, and I find it's a case of, it depends on the situation. It depends on the person.
Yeah.
Um, as a rule, am not going to necessarily blurt something like that out. But if I'm in a situation where even if I don't know the
Right.
person, but I know that they are open to that
You
kind
can
of thing,
sense it.
then I will take them aside and say, this is what
Oh
I'm
yeah.
getting. Take it as a grain of salt if you want. But here's what I see, here's what I feel, what I know. And, if I can be of help, I will, and leave it at that.
I
Now,
blame it.
if it were like one of the two of you, it'd be like, okay, you're gonna sit your butt down in this chair right here, and I'm gonna
No,
tell
that's
you
right.
what I saw, and we're gonna fix it. You know,
That's like the guy. I
so
wanted to
it's just
tell him.
depending on who
This
you're
thing was
talking to.
just this thing was just putting off some creepy, creepy vibes.
See,
And I know it
the
wasn't a
issue,
human spirit, so
It wasn't. No, it
no,
wasn't. It reminds me of an elemental type being that
this
I've
thing was
encountered
nasty.
myself.
It looked like it was literally
And
dragging its arms.
what they will do is in the same way that a demon would um, oppress before possession,
Right.
where they kind of
yes.
cling on and drain, and
They play
um,
the victim for a while.
they'll do the same thing, um, because they tend to be tied to the land, um, for whatever area. In the case of the one that I'm referring to, it was a water being, it water elemental that would occasionally attach itself to the person who lived in the house on the property, basically so it could go walking around and see what it could mess up.
Huh.
Okay.
You, uh,
It took a
this thing in
lot
my
of work.
house
It
is
took over a year and a half to deal with it, to get it to calm down and leave him alone and say, okay, we get it. You're here. We respect you. Because you have to think these are land spirits, earth spirits that have been here since before we were when it comes to elementals.
yep. And it's okay. So I was trying to explain to someone the other day that if I go to someone's house or like even in my own house, my own home or here with my mom, right? I
Mhm.
can help you like demons, you can send them back to wherever they come from, right? Where if you want to call it hell or wherever. Spirits, you can cross them
Right.
over, you can work with them and figure that out, especially as a medium.
Yeah.
But when
If
it
they
comes
need
to
to be crossed. Yeah.
right, but if it comes to like something like a shadow being, first of all, I have no clue where they come from. I know they feed off our energy. But things like elementals, like you were saying, I've encountered maybe one or two my entire life, but they don't have to abide by the same laws of physics as we do.
No
They
kidding.
don't have to abide by the 3D dimensional laws that we live in. And this is theirs. So the best thing that I would tell clients to do or that I help them do if they want my help is to keep the being at bay. And I've actually had
100%.
a situation one time where I felt so horrible because the only thing that I can do for this couple was get the being off their property and keep it off. But I told them, like, when you get in the car, you're not going to be safe. This thing travels around. I saw the thing from the minute I came into like one specific area, and it was like borders too, like literal county borders. Somehow it was just like maintained in this like county. Driving through all the way, like, 5, 6, 7, 8 towns, I just saw it going through, or like the residuals of it being there, what it's done. So I told him, like, you're not safe out. I can make it so that you're safe in your home, but outside of your home, someone from the
step across that threshold. Yeah, I get it.
And then you're kind of pissing it off for your neighbors, but it's up to you, There's someone from the chat that came in with an issue, and it's the second time I've encountered it, where they didn't really know what they were doing, but they knew either from watching my channel or watching enough stuff on YouTube to put a salt boundary of their property. Now, I'm glad they did that, and apparently they did it very well, but here's the problem. It attracted something from the woods that's like, oh, really? Think you can keep me out? So now this beastly looking creature stalks the border that she put on her house all night long, looking for a way to cross it. It's pissed now. Now it's a challenge. Whereas if she didn't do that salt boundary, maybe it wouldn't have even bothered with her house. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So that's the double-edged sword.
Shielded perhaps herself, or just shield the house.
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing was always
think about that.
The thing was always roaming and lurking the woods. So would it have even focused in on her house had she not? Because now it's like, oh, I can't go on this one part of land. Who does this human think that they are? I can hear this thing's thoughts, and it's like, I'm going to get in. I'm like, listen, put up the barrier now once a month. And if you start hearing, because there was no other paranormal or supernatural activity going on in the house. So I was like, listen, if you start hearing like scratching on the windows, call me. But for now, all you can do is re-barrier it, because now if you don't do that, this thing's going to be like, yes, I got in, and you're done for. Because this thing was unlike anything I'd ever seen. It was like it looked like half demon, half elemental, but then it would show itself to me turning into a big shadow animal. And then it would go back down to like the typical looking demon with horns. And then it's like turning into a human, pretending to be scared. So it was like everything all in one, but I knew it had never been human, and it belonged to the land.
Right.
No, what I did was when, because I live by the cemetery, and when I moved back with Dad, I actually went and got me some sea salt and went exactly all the way around the entire property. Yep.
I'm sorry, what?
I said when I moved back to Dad's, because the cemetery, and I'm seeing stuff a lot more now.
Yeah.
I took sea salt and went around. I had it blessed and went around the entire property with it.
Yeah.
Well, that's usually, I advise clients to do that when they move into a home, just as, kind of protect your property.
And I'll do it again now that it's all empty. I'll resmudge
that rare occurrence that it just happened to attract something.
Yeah. Now, one thing you have to keep in mind with doing that is that whatever energies build up within that property. So say you've had an argument. Say something decides to grab a hold, so to speak, and follow you in. With that salt barrier, you need to, I like to do it once a month, open a window, start at that window. I will go clockwise around the house. I'll do a very light sage. Just clear that energy, allow it to flow back out.
All that residual.
And then reseal that window with your salt.
Yes.
And if for no other reason that stagnant energy from any chaos that has happened, whether it's you've had the argument, you've had a stressful day,
or someone comes into your house and they've got stuff,
somebody tried to pick you up off the street,
those
kinds of things.
Yeah.
That energy is sticky. that type of negative energy is sticky, and it needs to be cleansed out. It needs to be cleared away.
I tell
One of
people
the
every
things that I've
day.
started doing is I've got this little piece of selenite, and once a day I'll sit here and almost like you would with a bar of soap, I'll rub it between my hands to start out with after setting my intention and grounding, and then I will literally just go up and rub it
Yeah, it's
all
actually a really good
over.
idea.
And what you're doing is, if you look at it from a scientific point of view, you're changing the ions um, and their charge around your body in your own energy field. Okay. And you're rebalancing and cleansing that ickiness off. I find that I'm feeling better by doing it. And I've only been doing it like 2 weeks now.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and it was at the behest of my mentor, Sarah, um, as part of the classes that I'm taking. So
Right.
it's those little tips and tricks that are shared by word of mouth, and that's kind of why I like coming on here with the two of you. Not
Yeah.
to mention the fact that you're such sweet people, and I love you so much.
I'm not that
Love
sweet.
you too.
I'm
I'm
kind
so
of
glad to
sour
be a part of it.
myself.
A lot of people don't realize, Miss Lara, that like even like again when I go into homes, one of the biggest thing, like there will be people who they don't even really have like a haunting. Like they're
Yeah,
being, they're just depressed, their energy's drained, and they're like, there's got to be something evil here. They always think it's something evil.
right,
But it's
right.
really residual energy from things that have happened either with them or if it's a new place. You have no idea how people live behind closed doors. You can move into a place,
Right.
you need to do a cleansing. And if you're in the northern hemisphere, I believe it's clockwise. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's
That is
counter, right?
counterclockwise.
Yes, I thought
That
so.
that's what some people feel. Okay, I say follow your intuition.
Yes.
Your intuition will tell you what direction you need to go. Um, what was I going to say? So with that, you know, clearing of the energy, you don't even know if it's a brand new building, what was there before the building, when the building was put up, what was the attitude of the guy that was laying the drywall?
It's so
Was
true.
he having a
It's
bad day?
so
Was
true.
he an angry drunk?
Did he
I
get
mean,
hurt?
that that and so you think about that. They're hammering, they're putting up drywall, they're putting up boards, they're and that energy is the same as when we, as shamans, spiritualists, so on, are putting that energy out. So that also can affect a building.
Most, Taiwan says layers upon layers, and it's so true. And I've got to say, I get people that are like, "That's a lot," and I get that. For someone who doesn't, who isn't a medium or isn't, really a part of this community, would think that that's a ton of stuff to have to do. But like at the bare minimum, you should be saging once a month. At the bare minimum,
You know,
and I take the sage outside and sage the property
our
outside
property.
too.
Hmm.
There never can be too safe. And if you don't like the smell of
Yeah.
sage, it's okay to like burn an incense or put on an
There's
oil diffuser.
right, and there are other, what's the right word? There are other resins and so on that you can use that still have similar properties.
Frankincense and myrrh
Right,
in the
exactly.
resin form is actually really good.
Yeah, oud. Of course, Palo Santo. I actually have incense sticks that I really like that are dragon's blood and opium scent. Okay.
Dragon's blood
And
makes me sneeze.
yeah, and see, for some people you can, some people
Are
you
they
can't.
mixed?
This one in particular. Um, and so I will just buy the stick and use those. So a lot of it's intention because when we set that
Really
intention,
is.
we're setting that energy out. again, back to our previous conversations about thought waves, thought forms. We're putting that energy out into our environment by doing the ritual, by the act of. And
if it
you
works
can
for
just
you, it
help
works for
clear
you.
them
What
down.
works, I tell people that
Right.
all the time too. It's like, listen, what works for me might not necessarily work for you. Again, Damien hates the smell of sage. So he doesn't
Right.
want to let me in his room. But I'm like, listen, everything's kind of going to wander in there. It's not going to want to leave the house if there's an open room for it to hang out in. So you got to let me run through there. So afterwards, I try to put like a really nice smelling something or other in the diffuser because our rooms are right across from one another. And it says, I do spring/fall cleaning every year. If your house is in order, your mind is in order. And I agree. Darling Deb, welcome. And okay,
that's kind of where it came from.
that's a good idea. But I wanted to say, even in like my recovery, what some people didn't understand was that, abilities and everything aside and energy aside and all that, when you have so much clutter in your personal space, it really does clutter the mind. It's not even about like, say you have, a whole bunch of stuff that you don't use. And first of all, you're picking things up out of someone's garbage. And a lot of us do this. We're like, ooh, that looks really nice. That's a great statue. Let me grab that.
Yeah.
That could have been a murder weapon. That somebody clubbed someone with.
It could have been
anything,
something that a mother gave to her daughter or son, that object was then the most hated object in the house because they hated that person.
It could literally be anything. So what I would say is, first of all, like I was saying, like even if it's completely organized, there's no room for the energy to move. If there's no room for you to move, there's no room for the energy to move. You really shouldn't do that. Also with the objects, I wouldn't say don't take them. If something really resonates with you, like I've been in thrift shops, I love to go thrifting, something I have to have it. But before I bring it into my space, I'll go outside and sage it. I'll pray over it. I'll do a blessing on it because you want to remove the energy. Now, luckily, I can see usually where it's been, where it's from, if I got the icky off and stuff like that. But not everyone can do that. And even with clothes, like most people wash clothes from a thrift store anyway. But even with new clothes, you don't know where. You've got to, like, literally, when they say cleanliness is next to godliness, whether you believe in God or not, cleanliness it's a spiritual thing. Taiwa says, I use a combination of sage and masculine and feminine incense. Awesome.
Yeah.
And Laura, Anthony says hello.
Hi, sweetie. You can even use something as simple as natural body spray. This one is lavender and chamomile, because again, you're setting that intention.
I use sage and juniper.
Yeah.
I spray it. I spray it on my linens and things. I spray it in the air, and then I spray it on myself, and I spray it on RJ. And he's like, "Ooh, perfume." And I'm like, "Yeah." But it smells really good. And nowadays, guys, you can pick that stuff up at Bath & Body Works. It's got sage in it. There's the one I have too.
Dr. Keel's, not endorsed.
So I've got mine. I've got so many of them, to be honest with you. I get the one type from East Meets West again, but I make them myself. So this is from Bath & Body Works, and I'm not sponsored. It's juniper and sage essential oil mist. Smells so good.
I love their stuff.
And then before I started making my own, I was buying, and this is one of the reasons I started making my own, sprays like the Empowerment Spray, which is citrus, rosemary, and bergamot, but they want like $24 for this thing. But it smells good. And there's one that's like negativity clearing, and it's really, really strong. Like it chokes my mom out because of her COPD, but it's got a lot of patchouli in it. It's got a lot of sage in it. And when I feel unsafe, like the entity in my home, whatever this thing is, has been bothering us when we're asleep. So I did a salt barrier around my mother's bed after I saged, and I put a charged selenite stick under the bed. She's got rose quartz and the tigerite organite pyramid from last night that I was using for the stream. She has that in her room. But for me, it's like the past few nights I'll be sitting here and all of a sudden my left leg will go numb. And it's not old age. It's a tingling sensation as if someone were rubbing my leg. I'll fall asleep and I'll wake up feeling like my leg's being tugged. Now, I usually can turn all of this off, but getting over RSV and being as sick as I was, I think that's why this thing has come out of the woodwork and now started showing itself to me. It never did that before because I tell it to go F itself. And like, I told my mother, stop showing fear. She wakes up in the middle of the night screaming at the top of her lungs. I'm like, Mom, I know it's hard. But guys, when you wake up in sleep paralysis, try to smile. Try to force yourself to smile and think about something that's funny, because you will confuse the entity and it will leave because you're not giving it what it came for. When you start screaming and shaking, and again,
come on, baby,
for some people it's not even possible, but if you really try to train yourself, if you have a lot of sleep paralysis experiences, or especially I've noticed with shadow people, if you can train your mind to literally think happy thoughts while this is happening, you're going to be left alone completely. But I was so broken down by the RSV. And my mom, she's really scared, but my mom is 100% Native American. She's like, has, her abilities are like medicine, like healer, if she were to accept them, but she's too afraid to even acknowledge them. And I try to work with her with it, but she gets scared. So I try to just protect her as best as I can. But there's only so much you can do for someone else. Like I tell people all the time, like, if you want this charm or this spell, I can give it to you, but it's not going to be long lasting. If your intention and your mind aren't right, like, why, first of all, love spells. Okay. Why would you want to put a spell on someone? Like, don't you just want someone who's going to love you anyway? I won't do them, but it's like, people just don't, when you're not in it all the time, I can see how you don't understand. But guys, if you're having issues with shadow entities, lower vibrational, you just don't know what to do, train your mind to think happy thoughts when you see it, and it will flee. It'll flee. Hey, everyone who just came in.
Be kind.
Be kind. Hi, unidentified Anthony. Khalid, thank you so much. Blue Crossroads, just tell the entity it's now $3.55 a gallon. It'll leave.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Love it.
My dad actually said, eat more beans, you'll have more gas. I was like, Dad.
Darling Deb
can be a gaseous anomaly.
That's a great question, and I'm sure Stephen and Lara are going to want to weigh in too. So, Darling Deb says, "Are any of you like Tyler Henry, where you can see future health issues in people?"
I have a couple times.
So here's a couple things with me. If I'm reading for someone, I can usually see something like that coming up 99.9% of the time. If someone is sick, their energy looks different. So when you can see energy and when you can see auras and things like that, you can definitely tell. When someone's right about to die, and it's the weirdest thing because it even happens in pictures. Stephen King got so many things right, especially in like the Dr. Sleep, Shining. When he's first of all, Dr. Sleep, and I'm going to let you guys answer, shows these vampires who do steam. And what they do is they find people with abilities and they suck the energy, the life out of them. They're energetic vampires. But the reason I thought of that is because Danny was saying how when his mom was about to die, he saw her face decaying and covered in flies and he couldn't look at her. And she knew that that's what he was seeing. That's literally what I will see. It'll start off with like one fly that's not really there, but that I can see. Then like 2 days later, it'll be like 5. And then like right before death, they're completely decomposed and they have flies everywhere. And it's hideous and disgusting. And that's one of the reasons also that I don't like going out in public. Stephen?
That's pretty much the same with me. I see stages. I had a friend, in fact, the one that passed away last year, Chuck, I saw him in stages. I knew before he knew, had a pretty good idea when I watched it as it progressed, and I was watching him as I would see it before it happened. And then there was a couple other people that was like that too. My mom. That I actually saw it coming before it came.
Sorry.
No, I actually
stop talking.
No, I should said that when I talk so soft.
Slow
Too.
motion, hold that thought. We'll do that one next.
But yeah, I have done my share of seeing it. Yeah, before and
Yeah, for
after too.
myself, I don't. Um, what I get is, and I will only do this with permission from that individual. Um, I can do a body scan.
Okay.
And when I do that body scan, and I've actually had a couple of consultations with Sarah about this one, I will close my eyes and I'll run my hand up and down the person's body, basically over the chakra system and over different parts of the body, almost like I'm using this as my scanner wand. And with my eyes closed, I see colors. And those colors can be um, balls of pulsing light. They may be yellow, orange, red, blue, purple, depending on where an illness or stuck energy is. That color may be dull or it may have a more dense look to it. Um, Whereas where there is no dis-ease, the color will be vibrant and pulsing. And part of the reason I wound up down this whole rabbit hole journey was because I had told this to someone years ago. Um, and they told me I was an energetic healer, a natural energy healer. And I'm like, if you say so,
Definitely 100%.
uh, but I finally got to a place in my life where I felt like this is the time. And things just fell into place. And I look at where I am now, what I'm doing now, the mentors that I have now, and being able to then turn around and use those abilities to their fullest potential to help other people.
Be kind
So
said,
if somebody's ill and ready to die, I would sense that in the form of those colors and the um, dense energies that I sense.
so Be Kind said to tell Lara that her scarf is beautiful. All the colors of the chakras. I didn't even notice that.
And that's why I got it. One of the things that we've been going over in my classes is sort of a deeper dive on the full chakra system and learning to tap into your own energies and read your own chakras so that you can then flip that coin and be able to do it for other people to help them. And working with different ways of balancing your own chakra system, whether it be wearing the colors that are associated with that chakra, or drinking out of a blue water bottle to help speak better from the throat chakra, things like that. And so, yeah, this was a little treat to myself.
I love it.
I've made it through 9 weeks of this class, and it's a 6-month class that meets every week. So we're getting there.
We have another question. What's up, Max?
I was just going you just read that, didn't you?
Max Jack said, seriously, now I don't want Gemma or Ghost to even look at me. I probably have a halo of flies. I hope you had that other comment saved that I've had up there this
Yeah,
week.
I'm getting ready to look for it. I just now.
I was just ready to answer that question.
Yes, because that is a great question.
It's not start anymore. Okay, I got it.
Okay,
yeah, the
thank you.
Curlian.
So Slow Motion wants to know, what do you think of Curlian photography where they photograph auras? I'll let you guys go first this time.
I find it very interesting.
Yeah, I have found it amazing.
But see, that's something that's been around.
Do you guys think that's what they're actually doing, though?
That is actually what they're doing. They're seeing the energetic body.
I see. I have kind of mixed opinions of it, but I think it's cool because it's the same situation as spirit photography, except they're using a delta filter, using a different kind of technique. But it's picking up the unseen, which the camera does anyways. It tends to pick up the
Right.
unseen.
I
Pick
can't
up
pretend
the,
to know anything about it because I've never. I don't watch the news. I don't watch TV, and I don't watch other YouTube
actually,
channels.
there's
So I
some
have
really
no
cool
idea.
videos. Oh, well,
So I'm
there's actually
wondering,
some.
but is it like a special type of camera? I guess because otherwise all cameras would pick
It
up
is.
auras.
Yes.
Okay,
It
that
is.
makes sense.
What
Yes.
they are doing is
But it's cool. It is really cool.
they are, and I can't remember if what the Carillion is the I can't find the words right now. Stop it.
Okay, take your time.
They are
Yeah.
doing the infrared spectrum or ultraviolet spectrum.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I understand it from the point of view of the work that my husband did, where in working with things like crystals for liquid crystal diodes for watches, electronics, that kind of stuff, the tests that he would set up, they would bombard these crystals with x-rays and then photograph it to see once when just like when you x-ray the human body
Right.
to see how much light is being emitted by this object from those x-rays bouncing off of it.
And it will
And
give
that's
up the
basically
color
what
spectrum.
right. And Curling photography, what they were doing is they were actually not just taking photographs, but they were also filming that. So if you go and you look at some of the films, you'll see, for instance, the picture of the palm of somebody's hand. What you're going to see is this part is dark, but you'll see blue energy sparks coming off all the way around the fingers. Now, they also did it where they would work with plants and they would take, and they were trying to understand phantom limb syndrome, where they would take the plant leaf and then cut the end of it off, and then with the cut piece, take the same image again, and you would see a line across it in the white energy, but you would also see the shadow image where the tip of the leaf was. And so, in trying to understand that from a metaphysical point of view, as well as science is starting to catch up with it, that when we lose a limb, we don't necessarily lose that energy signature that is still us.
Which makes sense to me.
Okay.
So, really quick, I have a question. So, and Lotus Girl, I will get to your question, but so this whole photographing the aura thing made me think of a documentary I recently watched where way back, I'm talking like maybe the 20s, it could have been as late as the 40s, they were photographing real psychics and mediums who were allowing themselves to be like jumped, who were physically channeling. And they were claiming, and I thought some of the photos looked really fascinating. I believed in some of them. Some of them looked like a joke. They were photographing plasma. But when I look up paranormal photographing of plasma, this Kirlian or whatever it's called photography comes up, and it's not the same thing.
It's not. So what you're thinking of was during the spiritualist movement, and they were photographing ectoplasm.
Plasma.
Is what
That's
is what they thought. Ectoplasm.
Thank you.
So if
you
you
see
did
in the chat,
ectoplasm as opposed to plasma, you'll get two different results.
I was in the chat going, I look really confused because I can't think of a word. And I thought it was plasma, but it's not. What's up, Jeff? Thank you, sir. I've got the Moldavites on from Anna, and then I have my Triple Moon Goddess ones. All right, so let me look that up. But in the meantime,
the Sylvia method.
Lotus Girl wants to know, anyone ever heard of the Silva Mind Method? She said, I'm definitely going to take the course. I think I've heard of this and looked it up before, and then it was just like one of those things that I got really excited about it and then moved on to the next thing without ever really looking into it. Lara?
Yeah, so the Silva Method, from my limited memory bank, okay, basically boils down to it's a scientific, if you will, method for psychic development. Um, they did a lot of work with, and still do, training remote viewers. Okay, so you will learn how to focus your mind, being able to uh, reach out with your thoughts and remote view. Um, it's something that I thought about doing, but because of my particular abilities, I don't feel like I need to. Now, will that change down the road? I may change my mind, but certainly it's if you are inclined and feeling drawn to that, definitely, look into it. But also use your discernment as to whether it's for you now, or
I
is
want to
it
show some.
something that you want to go forward with?
I want to. Bat mom. First I need to blow my nose. I apologize, but I want to show some pictures, and I don't own any of these pictures. I don't think any of them are copyright. I looked, but I want to show some pictures of what the ectoplasma allegedly looked like, because I remember,
Yeah.
I always tell you guys, not much scares me, but it really creeped me out. So
The
let's
white,
see.
Yeah,
the
they're
coming out
wild.
their nose. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen
Let's
these
see
pictures. Yeah, I've
if
seen
I
these pictures.
can.
Hopefully,
I
you
don't
can
know. I
do it.
can't see. Is it showing or no?
No, it's not showing yet.
Not yet.
Not
Okay,
yet.
hold on 1 second. There we go. I was trying to show individual
Yeah.
pictures, but these are all pictures. I don't know how to make it bigger, guys. I just learned how to do this. But if you guys can see that stuff coming out, like, I don't know if you can even see my arrow, but in the middle there, like those big things that look like lumps of smoke or things that are superimposed. Some of it does look superimposed, but some of it looks really real. And allegedly that is what is it supposed to be? Like the spirit that's coming out, or is it
It's the ectoplasm, so it's a residue
Yeah.
of
the
ghost.
spirit?
What it's supposed to be.
Of the
Some of those
spirit,
pictures
yeah.
were proven to be fakes, though.
Yes. And actually, if memory serves me right, which tonight I can't guarantee, they were part of the reason that Harry Houdini got into the whole debunking of
Yep.
spiritualism movement
I was just going to say
with
that.
those pictures.
Yes, that's when it really started kicking off for Harry.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we've got two
Big fan.
things. Slow Motion said that the CIA used remote viewing. Yeah, I think that's common knowledge at this point. Like,
Yeah.
they've admitted it. Be Kind said, when my dad was dying, he had what is termed terminal agitation. It was awful. One night I went to his bedside, put my palm on his forehead, concentrated and prayed. He finally went to sleep. Opinion. I think anyone can do this.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to really have that intention there. And I think Be Kind, with your abilities, it was probably fairly easy for you to be able to do that for him. But anyone can do this. But it's like, and again, you don't have to be religious to understand this. But when Jesus said, faith the grain of a mustard seed could move a mountain, or when he was telling the disciples, like, you can cast demons out too. You just have to believe that you can enough. And that's still supposed to be true to this day. But it's something kind of like that. Like, you just have to really understand that you can do that and you'll be able to do it. And I think we talked about this a lot, pre-programmed from the minute we're born, that people can't see ghosts, monsters aren't real. Be Kind, I'm not surprised that you were able to do something like that, and easily too.
Yeah, same here. I totally agree.
Now, see, Be Kind, I've had this happen to me. I see when my mom passed, everybody that touched her, she would wake up screaming. And every time I went over and touched her, she would go back to sleep. So Dad made me sit there with her, with my hands on her shoulder until she
But you
passed.
got to watch, because that takes a lot from you too. I mean, I would be a walking
I felt all
zombie
right
in
after.
2 weeks.
I felt okay afterwards. But she was so much calmer. But you could tell she was fighting. You could tell. I could see it, actually.
Lotus Girl said she said I use hand energy healing on Hub's great. And now it goes away. It happens every time. I hate when that happens. So she was saying that I use hand energy healing on Hub's heart episodes every time. I believe that. And Be Kind said, my mom was looking at me like I was a weirdo. I said, I'm not weird, Mom. God just made me this way. And I always say to RJ, why are you so handsome? Or I'll say, why are you so smart? And he's like, that's how God made me. And I'm like, yes. We all have it. We all can do it. And that's such a big thing of what I'm trying to do on this channel, is to just get people to understand, myself included, and I'm learning more as I go, that we are co-creators of our life and of our destiny. And, people are like, well, even if, again, with the God thing, okay, well, God is going to do this for me. Please, God, do this for me. Or the universe is going to give me this. No, you have to help energetically and put it out there, like as if you already have it. You have to be a part of the process. It's almost never, I would call it luck, and I don't even really believe in luck. If it just fell into your lap, there's some, even if it's this amazing opportunity that seemed to have come out of nowhere and changes your entire life, more than likely and probably you put the energy out there to attract that, whether you realized it or not. Winning, $1 billion in the lottery, you did something. The point of the whole thing is being aware of what you did, so you can keep being prosperous, and you can keep winning, and you can keep loving your life and who you are.
Oh yeah. I'm just answering Be Kind.
So
Thank you,
Be Kind said, Lara, can I ask my eyesight question?
Okay.
And thank you, Be Kind. Yeah, it was a weird situation because Dad was real uncomfortable at first, and then he just said, "Go do it. Just sit there."
I would be a zombie for a week if I had to do that.
I was tired that
not
night.
had to, but felt the need to.
But after
I have to open. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, Stephen. I don't mean.
Oh no, you're fine.
I'm so
I get
used to being the only one talking.
We're sitting around a coffee table having a conversation. We talk over each other all the time. It's no big deal.
Right.
I've got to open. You know what I mean? Like before stream, I can't talk on my phone really. I can't converse with anyone. I have to open to be able to channel, to bring spirit in. I have to meditate. I have to get all of my own stuff out of the way every Wednesday before I go in and meet with you guys and start, because otherwise I'll be pulling all my own cards. I have to really work at that. So I would probably have to energetically and spiritually prepare myself for something like that. But I think on the fly, I'd be able to do it. It would drain me. Because I am almost legally blind. Every time I see spiritual beings, I can see them perfectly without my glasses on. What do you think about that, Lara?
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And very similar in that aspect with my vision issues. Now mine are, basically it's a type of macular degeneration that I've had since I was in my 40s, but when I perceive, whether it's spirit or, other beings, what have you, I see them clear as day.
Seeing with your spiritual eyes.
I see them as a photograph, but it's the same type of situation. And because you're not looking with your physical eyes, you're looking with your inner sight. And think of it as superimposing the two. So your inner sight and your physical sight, if you're seeing them physically in the room, you're superimposing those. So of course it's going to strengthen that sense of natural visual when you're using that ability.
Just remember, when one set of senses passes, even in your eyes, because you have all different types of senses, just more than touch, feel, see. When one dies or passes or becomes hurt, another one will replace it.
Well, that's what I was saying. You're seeing with your spiritual eyes. You're not seeing, and I think that's the thing too. A lot of haunting activity, people turning around in their living rooms and suddenly their living room looks like it did back when the house was built in the 1700s and a family sitting there having dinner. That's happened 3 times in my entire life that I've met someone who's had that experience. They weren't haunted. They weren't seeing ghosts. They were seeing someone that lived in the past, someone that is living in that same exact spot in that same exact moment right then. But to us, to that person, you know, it wasn't 2019, it was 1776. I don't know. And to those people, they were probably seeing a ghost because in the one story, I think I told this in my second book, the little boy was like poking at the older gentleman next to him. The older gentleman next to him turned and looked right at the lady and then looked at the boy and whispered something. And they both just looked down and started eating like this because they probably thought back then, because time, as we know, most of us know, is not linear. So it's not past, present, future like that. It's really more like layered like this, you know.
Mm-hmm. And when you consider the idea, the concept that there's only now, there's not the past, not the future, it's now and our perception thereof. And yeah, how do we know we are not the ghosts that they are perceiving?
Yep.
In the same way we're perceiving them as ghosts.
Sometimes it can be absolutely mind-boggling. Like if you go to a place that's allegedly had a haunting, and this is where it gets crazy, guys, and you know, you don't really have to answer because it's meant to be kind of like a mind twister. But if you go to a place that's known to have been being haunted since the beginning of time, and so many people are going to this place, has the place really been haunted since the beginning of time? Or is it everyone that's showing up at the place now that the people from the past thought were ghosts? Like, it's like reciprocal cycle that we just don't have an answer to, and we're not going to until we're in spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an interesting subject.
I hope that sort of helped a little bit. If there's anything more that I can elaborate on, you know.
Yeah, Lara is always offering, and we've got to start putting your information in the chats or in the description box as well so that people can reach out to you. I'll probably do that for next week's stream. Just get an email where they can reach out and talk to you just like they do with me. Max Stacked said, Gemma, Ghost, Lara, have you ever seen a bright flash and loud snap in the middle of the room? I've seen it 3 times in completely different places. Many times. For me, it could be based on perception though, but for me, that's a portal opening and closing, whether it does it very quickly, whether you see anything come through. That to me is opening of portal. That flash bang. I usually see it like when I'm walking in the woods, it'll happen. And then I know like something probably came through that I just didn't see.
I believe I sent you a story that was almost just like that.
A lot of people are reporting that in the woods, that they're hearing these loud pops, and then all of a sudden they're confronted by like these strange creatures. Stephen, go in private chat for a second.
Yes.
Yeah, so, you know, in my case, I've seen them in my own house. I used to call them house fairies because I didn't have any other name for them, where it looks like these, little blue flash bulbs going off. Sometimes the audible pop, sometimes not. I equate it to the small spark of energy collapse. Like you say, whether it's portal or that, I can't say. But what I was noticing in my case, it might be something they want to look at, is I actually had an energy path that ran through my house because it ran through the property. And so they would be traveling through the house, down my hallway, and around the corner of my living room, and then up through the ceiling. And at that particular time, the cat that I had loved to chase them, and he would stand up on his hind legs with his front legs on the wall and meow at the ceiling. So at least I knew I wasn't going nuts, that somebody or something else was seeing them too. And once I started getting into energy clearing practices and I will do a Reiki meditation where I basically create a golden bubble of light, and that bubble starts here inside of me, and then I expand it until it encompasses me, and then I expand it further until it encompasses the room, and then out and out until it pushes out in every direction to the property. And when I started doing that, they stopped. I haven't seen one
Really?
since in my house. I've seen them other places, but I
Right.
haven't seen one in my house since. So I equate it to, like, you know how when you walk up and down a carpet and then you'll set off sparks if
Yes.
you don't have the lights on
Yep.
as you pass by certain things. It's like that kind of static energy in the air. And whether it's little teeny portals opening up or not, who knows? At this point, I don't think we have that answer, but just know that you're not alone and other people do see them, but I don't think it's anything to fear.
I usually tell people, oh yeah, I got distracted because I heard them talking. I usually tell people that when we're working just with, like, if I'm with a personal client and we're just kind of working out how we can temporarily shield them from other people's stuff, until we can figure out a more long-term thing and like really work on the issue. That's normally what I suggest. I will suggest that we start, in the heart, in this space with golden yellow light, and pull it out and kind of make sure we always have that shield around us. I did have another question here, but it's gone.
Something.
Did hauntings only start with the rise of self-awareness? Be
No.
kind. Yeah, I think that was just kind of like a
Yeah,
rhetorical question,
I was
but
just gonna put that
I
up
thought
for
it was
you.
a good one.
Yeah.
Be Kind said, I have to thank Gemma Ghost and lately Lara for helping me recognize and start to learn about abilities I've always had and denied. Gemma, you started me on this path almost 2 years ago. Deepest thanks. You've helped me tremendously as well. And yeah, thank you so much. That's like my
Yeah.
whole point in wanting to do anything that I'm doing on YouTube, is to bring the self-awareness, the spiritual awareness, and just help people live the most fantastic and amazing life that they can while they're here on this 3D plane that we're stuck on here. We're all here to learn something. There has to be more to it. And
Be
whether you
Kind did not
believe
just
that
say.
there's a matrix, or whether you believe whatever you believe in, you're
Mm-hmm.
still here. You still have to be here. And if I can help, or if we can help bring people to their spiritual path, to their contracted journey, to their soul's purpose, that is the point for me.
Yeah, same here. I mean, that's part of why I wanted to speak out, why I wanted to, when you offered, come on and talk to people and encourage them to do the same. Come out and speak their truth, speak their knowledge. Because even if that knowledge is simply saying, hey, I've seen this. Have you ever seen this before? That being able to speak out about it might help somebody else down the road.
It's helped
You
me
know,
tremendously, because for the first year and a half I was on YouTube, if you guys remember with the other live streams, I never mentioned that I had abilities. I never mentioned that I was a psychic. I did not talk about the paranormal except in a conceptual form, because I was testing the waters, because I was scared of the way that I've been treated my whole life, and the way that I've been judged my whole life, and the way that I've been looked at my whole life. And a lot of people with abilities, no matter how seemingly small or how huge, no matter what it is you can or can't do, that's a really, I don't want to say scary, but it's just like a really sad thing to have to hold on to all by yourself. But when you're in a room full of people who pretty much all either know what you're talking about or are interested in you instead of being fearful of you, I'm not
yes.
a freak show here,
Yeah.
and that,
Hash,
that meant so
you
much
know,
to me.
our mystic misfits. We
Yeah.
are all in this strange, wonderful world together. And by having these conversations, we're all learning together. We're all journeying together.
Yep.
And reaching even more people. It looks like I'm about to have a random floof sighting here. You gonna come over, Kaylee? So if you suddenly see a cat in the middle of the stream,
I'm talking about
hello,
something
Kaylee.
else. He goes,
No,
if
no,
my
no,
dad
no,
watches
no.
Chillax. Uh-oh, she gonna knock you over?
Well, if the camera's shaking, it's because she just sat down on
My
the table.
camera's always shaking because I'm sitting at the edge of my bed and I'm trying to keep my knees up. So I stopped doing that because I know there's going to be that one person that's like, I can't because our camera's shaking.
Yeah.
Like, I can't.
Well, if you just do this during the whole stream, they won't know.
Calm down, Trish.
Cat play. Okay, there we go. Come on, Kaylee.
Guys,
I haven't had any
just
mom.
so you know, this used to be an 8 to 10. We're gonna end at like 9:15, 9:30. I don't want to do just an hour, but it's like if it's slow like tonight, we're kind of just hanging out. That makes my life a lot easier because coming off of the 3 to 4 hours last night to tonight is a lot for me. And then my weekends are full with RJ. So and I can't do it on another night. We've got Monday afternoons and then Tuesday is my day for clients. So thank you for being
and I'm too busy
Blue
going
Cross.
around.
I'm sorry?
I was going to say, and I'm just too busy going around burning down villages. So,
Gemma Jade, I don't mention kinetics in social settings as people tend to shy away from me, even in casual conversations. Yeah, I mean, and I totally get that. Believe me. I told you guys all the time, I'm that person at like the birthday party that's just like sitting in alone, like talking to either a spirit or myself because nobody else wants to talk about like serial killers, you know. In my family, though, you could usually find, you know, someone like my mom will talk with me, but we all, you know, I've gotten to the point, even like in these chats, it's not even like tolerable anymore. Like, or it's not tolerating anymore. Like, I genuinely enjoy being here. I genuinely love talking to you guys. Thanks to Miss Pixie's birthday gift to me, I'm going to get off here and go immediately to buy a deck because now I have an Amazon gift card. So I'm really excited. I was like, why did she do that? But thank you. And thank all you guys for yesterday. I'm going to let Lara say goodbye, Steven say goodbye, and then I'm going to pull us out.
bye. Bye.
Love you all.
Much love.
We'll get something. If you don't follow me on Facebook,
yeah,
you
what's
can
your
find
email?
me
I'll put it in right now.
So my email address right now, use lady.dreamweaver@att.net. And yes, like that song, Dreamweaver.
I just saw that when I was looking for your email. So that's where you can reach Miss Lara, and I'm going to take that and put it in the description box so that you guys can, you know, once next week comes, or I might put it in this one. If you guys are looking for guidance or if you like what she has to say and want to hear more, the same reasons you would contact me.
Remember who it is.
Yeah, identify yourself. That's what I always tell people. Please identify yourself when you email me or text me, especially because a lot of us use pseudonyms when we're in here or screen names. Heather, Nikki, yeah, we're not doing till 10 anymore. It's going to be till 9:15, 9:30. Last week I said 9:30. If we have a guest on, it'll probably go more towards like 10. It really all depends. But again, after last night, I'm just pooped and but I needed my dose of you guys. So Ghost booked. Yeah, he always does. He's in the backstage there. Okay. That's what I deal with.
Sorry.
I love him.
I figured we laugh on a laugh.
You guys are my joy.
I was going to say,
really are.
On that note, we will see you guys.
Love you all.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much. Miss Lara, I'll talk to you in a little bit. Thank you.
Bye.
Yes, birth week, birth month. Yesterday is birthday. Thank you all so much. Blessings, love, light, peace, happiness always to you guys. You know I love you, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Steve Garrett, I did see your email, and I'm going right over there now, so I got you. And I think that's it. We'll see you Monday for noon Eastern time. We're going to have Chris, the paranormal dude, on here with some pretty interesting footage and pictures of what I believe is a partially cloaked. It's like something went wrong with the cloaking device because you can see that it's a cube-shaped UFO. Yeah, you're not going to want to miss that one. All right, guys. Good night. Gemma, out. I can't even do that because I have to end the stream and it takes like 2 minutes.